Okay. Let's hope this stays on. If you hear it click, let me know.
Okay.
Because before it wasn't, but I think it's just because I wasn't recording anything.
It's weird there's not like a red light you can see.
There's a red light on the back side you can see.
That makes no sense. Well, I
I
guess.
think it's because you're the videotaper.
Don't include any of this in what you're
All right, so I just want to go over what I'll be observing next week, Friday, right?
Yes. Thursday.
Thursday.
We don't have school on Friday.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
remembered that. Well, the kids reminded me today.
Okay, so Thursday, that'll be the 23rd.
There's like a light on the bottom, and they change colors.
So can you just describe the lesson that you're going to be teaching?
Yes, so right now they're doing a full synthesis unit. So on the AP exam, they get tested on synthesis, rhetoric, and argument. The synthesis unit is sort of the final unit we're covering before I'm done with them. So instead of just practicing argument where they come in with their predetermined opinion, they're now going to synthesize a bunch of different pieces and researchable material to form an argument. So on this particular day, they'll have been a week into that unit, and they're going to all be given a past prompt, the 2012 AP prompt, and it's about the U.S. Postal Service and how we could realign the U.S. Postal Service in an effective way. And with that prompt, they're given, and obviously a lot of teenagers don't know much about the U.S. Postal Service, but that's sort of the point of the synthesis prompt on the exam, is to make them use the researchable information and the sources.
Like not having background information purposefully.
Exactly. The goal is that they don't have background and they have to use their sources to formulate their opinion.
Okay.
So I'm giving them all of the sources then from that exam as well. And then they're going to come in this day for this lesson and debate what the best change will be for the U.S. Postal Service.
Okay. And so in the days prior, you had mentioned like they were going to do their own synthesis of their own materials to get like the background experience of that process.
Yep, so we're actually, days prior, we're walking through the 2015 exam, and the textbook that they use actually perfectly aligns with this and walks you through, it gives you a prompt, and it walks you through exactly how to synthesize that prompt and those pieces. So we're using that as our initial like starting point and tool, then we're practicing with the 2015 prompt, and then we're having the benchmark discussion the day you'll come in.
Okay.
So they'll have technically practiced twice before they have this big.
Okay, so 2 full and then the debate one that I'll be seeing.
Yep.
Okay. Can you describe a little bit what the population of the class is that I'll be sitting in on?
It's a class of 15, all high achieving honors students, 1 sophomore, 4 seniors, and the rest are juniors. And they're all junior boys. It's a very male-heavy class. So it's a bunch of students that are very passionate about putting in extra effort. Not all of them are as passionate about English. So finding that balance between wanting to succeed, but also not being always as passionate about the material has been something that we've worked on. There's no need for accommodations or anything in the class.
Okay. Although that typically isn't the case with honor certificate.
Yeah.
We get every once in a while, but
Yeah.
usually that's significant. So then when I'm in the room, what will I actually be seeing the students doing, the actual debate?
Yeah, so you're going to see the actual debate. You're going to see half the class will, and I think what I'm going to do, I'm still sort of brainstorming this, but I'm going to break them in half, and then that day I'm going to tell them what they have to argue.
Oh, nice. So like they won't have prepped for,
They'll have prepped for a debate,
but not.
but I'm not going to tell them what side they have to debate until they get there that day. And then they will propose their different solutions that they've sort of been assigned and debate what solution would be most effective based on that.
What are you hoping to see by not telling them?
At first, well, what am I hoping to and what do I know I'll see? At first, I know I'll see frustration and resistance because I have a few people that will really have one set mind.
Right.
But what I'm hoping to see is that that sort of closed mindset is forced to become more open, and I'm hoping that I'll see them digging through the sources that they had sort of neglected a little bit more and seeing how they can. Synthesis is about being able to argue both sides and having a true understanding of both sides, so I'm hoping that I'll see that they have understanding of both sides by doing that.
Are you gonna, so when they come in, are you gonna tell them that ahead of time that they won't know, or you're gonna just tell them to prepare?
I think they'll know ahead of time that they won't know, because I
Which
sort of
one?
have to
Right.
tell them that, but then I'll tell them the day of what
Which?
one they actually have. But yeah, I'll have to tell them.
Because I wasn't sure, because, I mean, another way to maybe do it, I don't know that you'd have enough time then with the, because the
Yeah.
black's nice, but discussions take forever.
Yeah.
But the other thing would be to like not tell them, and then when they got here, like they'd have to prep.
Yeah,
Because that would kind of put them under a pressure situation like the AP test, which would be kind of cool too.
that's true. Like I could have them, like they could think that they're prepping for a side. What would be really cool is if I had them in like their two teams, and then they came in and both teams thought they knew what they were going to argue, and they both came in and I was like, okay, and you're switching.
That would be interesting.
I might do that. I'll let you know if I decide to do that, but I think I might do that.
Yeah, the
That's
only
how
thing
it's-
with doing it that way then, like I was saying, is then you're gonna have to give them a little bit
Little
more
more
time.
But I feel like the debate will only take 45 minutes, so I think that we'll have that time.
Interesting.
I think I'm going to do that. That'll be hard for me to do, because personally, like, I always want to tell them,
Yeah.
but I think I'll do it, because I think that's a really good idea.
So then, can you just explain a little bit of like how the debate is set up like in your class? Because like you're not gonna be doing much direct instruction, so instructional methods are not really relevant, but
Yeah.
like how will that debate be set up? Is it one circle, is it sides, whatever?
Yeah, so they've had one other debate in class before, and as I said, they'll have the two practice ones. In my debates, I try to make it so that not all the students have the opportunity to talk at once,
Right.
because sometimes that becomes mayhem. So for each group, I set it up where there's a series of like 4 desks, and then 2 or 3 desks in front of those 4, and then on the other side it's the same thing, and they're facing each other.
Okay.
And the 2 or 3 desks that are in the front, those are the group's speakers. Everyone in the back is just helping to support and build an actual argument. So like those
like this
people,
kinda?
exactly. So these people can only support and like pass information or like whisper information to the speakers based on what's going on, but they can't actually participate in the debate.
Nice.
Only the speakers in the front can participate in the debate.
Okay.
And I always give time. I give opening statement time, and then I give, for both sides, and then I give open rebuttal time for everyone. That's sort of the free-for-all time. And then I give closing statement time. And before opening and closing statements, I give them 5 minutes of prep. So opening statement, they'll obviously have more time than that to prep because I plan on surprising them now.
Right.
But then closing statements, they'll get 5 minutes to prep, and then as a group, they can prep before their one speaker gives the statement.
So then those 3 speakers, do they remain the speakers the entire time?
They do.
Do you ever find you have issues with kids like with that, or do you pick them? Do the groups pick them?
I usually let them pick.
Okay.
I haven't found, the biggest issue with letting them pick is I do find the same students sitting in the back, but they're still participating in the back, so I'm not as worried about that. Like, they still have to do the work.
Right.
May I have your attention, please? If Nick Kelm is in the building, please report to the front office. Nick Kelm, please report to the front office. Thank you.
That's fine.
Sometimes the students in the front like give each other hard times. Like in this class, you might observe I have one student who is very knowledgeable about a lot of things,
Okay.
but he knows that he's knowledgeable about a lot of things, so he
I think I know which one.
sometimes can take that out on other students in a more negative or condescending way.
Right.
So I've run into like condescending students before, but I usually keep that in check. And like after the last debate that happened with that student, and I let him know that it was sort of unacceptable. So.
Right. How do you assess the debate then?
So I have a rubric that's based on participation, preparation, and listening. The participation score is the argument and synthesis score.
Okay.
preparation scores, did you do the reading? Did you come in prepared? Listening, that's, for the listening score, they need to be kind and courteous to those that are speaking, but for those back people even, their listening score is impacted by how they're taking notes, how they're actively listening throughout.
And like how they then use whatever is being said probably to contribute forward.
Exactly.
So you shared a little bit about like areas of concern already. Are there others aside from some of the logistics of the debate or that prep stuff?
Really, the only thing, it's more a mentality of the class kind of thing with this group. They will be frustrated with me in the beginning, but I think that that frustration is sort of critical to their learning sometimes. So I know that they'll be frustrated that I switch, and otherwise they'll get pretty competitive in the debate, so that'll be, like, that's nice. With this group, they're very open with me and fine with giving feedback, so they're fine with giving feedback to each other as well, and they'll do a lot of that throughout the debate.
So then when I'm observing you, is there anything you would like me to be watching for in particular, like
Yes,
as
I
it
took a
relates
note of
to domains or?
I just talked about student engagement by all students.
Okay.
I think that in a class debate, a lot of times you can have just 3 or 4 students engaged and everyone else sits there. So it'd be nice if you could just, let me know how well I did in making sure all students were engaged the entire time. And yeah, then active participation and comfort in the method.
Okay. Do you have, because we do debates sometimes as well, like do you have, ever have situations where like a kid just doesn't participate, and what do you tend to do in those situations?
I honestly, in those situations, give the student the grade that they deserve for not participating. They've all seen the rubrics, they've all had debates before, so they're familiar with it.
Right.
At this point, especially in an advanced placement class, you know what you have to do. So then I would talk to that student afterwards about what they can do to reassess or to improve in the future.
So you do offer some sort of reassessment potentially?
Yes, in the end.